Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to be breaking down the literal structural blueprints of human behavior, trying to uncover exactly why we act the way we do when we're in the office. So, if you've ever found yourself wondering what on earth is going on behind the scenes of your everyday interactions at work, well, you are definitely in the right place.
Actually, before we get into all the deep psychological theory, I really want you to think about that one puzzling coworker. You know exactly the one I'm talking about. Maybe they're the person who CCs the boss on literally every minor email, or the one who relentlessly paces the hallway during phone calls. What unseen forces are actually driving those habits? We usually just see the surface level of how people act, but there is this massive, incredibly complex foundation lying just beneath the surface.
So, here is our architectural roadmap for today. We'll hit 1. The blueprint of personality, 2. 4 major personality theories, 3. Attributes driving workplace behavior, and finally, 4. Real-world workplace applications. Let's just dive right in. Okay, Section 1. The blueprint of personality, or laying the foundation. We have to start from the ground up by looking at the core elements that construct our behavior way before we ever step foot into a workplace. Think of personality just like a building's concrete foundation. It's this complex foundational structure of individual behavior, and it's shaped by a really distinct mix of both internal and external factors. This doesn't just pop up overnight. It's carefully poured and cured over time by a whole bunch of intersecting forces that make you, well, entirely unique. Psychologists like to look at this through the whole person concept. It's essentially made up of 5 primary slices. First, we have heredity. That's our genetic starting point. Then you mix in environment and family upbringing, which completely mold our early development. Add in our social circles, setting our interpersonal norms. And lastly, situational factors. This is how we adapt on the fly to things like a sudden looming deadline, or, heaven forbid, a broken office coffee machine. Every single one of these slices claims a piece of your total personality pie. All right, now that the foundation is officially poured, let's look at Section 2. 4 major personality theories are structural framework. We're going to examine the 4 main paradigms that psychologists use to actually explain these behavioral blueprints. So, we have 4 distinct paradigms here. First up is type theory, which, interestingly enough, links our personality directly to our physical body structure. Next is trait theory, which argues that we're basically a combination of 16 specific characteristics, things like being naturally reserved, highly trusting, or super practical. Then, of course, there's Freud's classic psychoanalytic theory, breaking the mind down into the id, ego, and superego. And finally, social learning theory. This one focuses entirely on how we learn simply by observing others and getting real-time reinforcement. Each theory gives us a totally different lens to view that one coworker who insists on replying all to the company-wide memos.
What I find truly fascinating here is the sharp contrast between internal and external drivers. On one hand, Freud's psychoanalytic theory is all about this unseen, subconscious tug-of-war happening completely inside your own head. But on the flip side, social learning theory represents completely external drivers. It's saying, hey, we aren't just at the mercy of internal impulses. We actually adapt by observing the environment around us and being reinforced by it. It's kind of the ultimate inside versus outside debate in psychology. And believe me, both are playing out in the boardroom every single day.
Let's move along and see how all this builds. Section 3. Attributes driving workplace behavior. I kind of like to think of these as the interior design quirks of our personality. When we take those broad theories and apply them to specific organizational behavior, we start to see some really distinct attributes pop up. One major one is Machiavellianism. It's a fascinating and, sometimes challenging trait characterized by cunning, manipulation, and just a relentless focus on personal gain. It heavily dictates office politics. This is exactly the trait driving the colleague who subtly takes credit for team projects or strategically hoards information to leverage a promotion. It completely shifts how power is acquired in a company. But hey, it's not all just about sneaky power plays. Ask yourself this directly. Do you thrive on taking massive leaps? Are you a high-risk taker who just embraces uncertainty for that potential reward? Or are you more of a type A personality? Intensely driven, maybe a little impatient, constantly rushing to conquer the very next goal. Whichever camp you naturally fall into dramatically alters how you function inside a team, especially when the pressure gets dialed up. Some other absolutely crucial internal drivers include your self-esteem as well as your ability to self-monitor. Self-monitoring is essentially how seamlessly you can adjust your behavior to read a room during a tense meeting. And then there's your locus of control. This one is huge. If you have an internal locus, you believe you control your own career fate.
If it's external, you feel like office politics and outside forces are controlling you. These attributes dictate literally everything from how you handle critical feedback to your absolute confidence in a high-stakes pitch.
All right, finally, let's open the doors for business. Section 4, Real-World Workplace Applications. Let's see exactly how these abstract architectural concepts manifest in real, day-to-day organizational life. Just imagine a single employee's journey through a company. Their fundamental traits don't just sit there dormant, right? From day one, these traits dictate how they pass the initial interview selection. Once they're hired, their specific type of intelligence fuels their daily decision-making. These exact same personality factors determined if they're motivated by a massive cash bonus or maybe just some quiet public praise. And ultimately, it maps out how they'll handle a leadership role or navigate a really heated conflict with their peers. It's the silent engine running their entire career. So, the absolutely crucial takeaway here is this: personality dictates the organizational process. It's not just some background detail. Every single interaction, every messy team conflict, every brilliant strategic decision, and every massive success in your company is built entirely on the unseen, foundational psychological architecture of its individuals. Basically, if you don't understand the personality, you simply cannot understand the business. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative thought. Now that you actually know the blueprint, now that you understand the heredity, the social learning, the locus of control, and all those hidden traits driving your actions, how are you going to use this knowledge to manage your own architectural foundation at work tomorrow? The blueprint is officially in your hands.